death by starvation of 1 million people was more than the imagination could even conjure up. And so therefore, once you saw batches of hundreds of people, children mostly, the soldiers at the front in Biafra had no shoes or socks, and they were often only issued with 2 bullets to go into a major battle. And when you saw those soldiers next to you with, having their throats torn out with bullets that were very close to you, or they're running down the road holding their intestines inside their stomachs with their fingers and blood and intestines coming out their finger. I can tell you wicked, awful stories you wouldn't believe. There's no point in it. But when you walked into these accommodations, which were school buildings anyway, which they called hospitals, and saw hundreds of dying children, there was a particular piece of film last night that even destroyed me, the film of the 2 little boys dragging that little child up the steps. Yeah. I'm not that hardened that I, can take anything. I can't.
Yeah.
In the end, there was a famous photographer called Eugene Smith.
Yes.
And he wept a lot. And I said to somebody, and it was my interpretation of what his feelings must have been, and I said, Eugene was so sensitive, and this is my words. I said the thing about Eugene was, the problem was, seriously, all of his nerve ends were hanging out of his body. And that's true.
And for you? And for you? I mean, I think of his shot of Minamata. It evokes for me, some of the things that some of your shots do too. Looking at mothers, looking at children.
There's a danger about Minamata. You see that particular shot, and I have to be careful, and we have to be careful. They become so iconically beautiful that they almost don't serve the purpose. You suddenly have this amazing, iconic beauty. And I remember Eugene Smith talking about that, because I met him once in Tokyo, and he said, I knew this situation was developing with mother and child. He said it just needed the kiss of a strobe light. And I thought that was dangerous, because he was looking for the ultimate perfection. Those photographs that I took in my past, they do have some good composition. I did take the risk of, and I did take my time. But there was also at the back of my mind the danger of the so-called perfection of composition, turning those pictures into a Goya-esque kind of iconic, and that doesn't serve the purpose. On the other hand, though, if you just take a slovenly old picture and, because it's so awful you think you don't have to bother, that picture will come out looking like an atrocity picture, which will make people reject immediately they see it. You have to slightly seduce them to hold on looking a bit longer so they can feel and get the message before they reject it.
And how do you react to, for example, I can't imagine how many people have looked at the shots of the shell-shocked soldier.
I'm bored to death with the shell shots, so I can't tell you how boring that picture is for me. I've just made the last 10 prints of it, and I said to my wife, I've just made the last 10 prints, I'm never going to print this picture again. I'm just simply bored with it. It sends out the wrong message. I don't want a shell-shocked soldier to be my ultimate message. I want them to look at those pictures of those dying children.
Yes.
They're more important to me than that picture. That becomes an iconic Hollywood image almost. That is not important to me. And every time I do a book or I have an exhibition, people want to use it as the poster, as in this case, because it has a haunting quality.
Yep.
And it draws people. It's a kind of fist-in-the-face looking image. But I would much prefer people remember my children who've suffered in pictures.